Welcome back. If you were with us last week, you heard about the 8 p.m. phone call, families scrambling to figure out care for their father less than 12 hours before discharge. If you miss it, the replay is available on our YouTube channel, and I encourage you to watch it. Today, we are going to talk about something that makes almost everyone uncomfortable. That is money. Specifically, we are going to talk about what elder care actually costs. Not what you think it costs, not what you hope it costs, what it really truly costs when you add up every line item and look at the total. Because here's what I've learned in over 35 years of healthcare. The most expensive care decision is the one made without the numbers in front of you. Most families, I mean most, have never sat down and done this math. They are guessing, they are hoping, they are assuming. And when the crisis comes, those assumptions cost them thousands of dollars. And more importantly, they cost their loved ones the wrong level of care. So today, we are going to fix that. I'm going to walk you through the real numbers for this area right here in Charlotte so you know exactly what you're looking at. No surprises, no guessing, just math. And I promise you, once you see the numbers clearly, the decisions get easier. Not easy, but easier because you are working with facts instead of fear. Let me start with this, starting with a question. What does it cost to do nothing? A lot of families I work with tell me this. I hear that all the time. We are fine right now. Mom's managing. We'll deal with it when we need to. And I understand that. I really do. But doing nothing has a price tag, and it's higher than most people realize. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say your mother is 78 years old. She's living alone. She's mostly independent. But you've noticed some things. She's a little bit unsteady on her feet. She forgot to take her medication a couple times last month. The house is not as clean as it used to be. Right now, she doesn't need much. Maybe 4 hours a week of help. Someone to come and check on her with some groceries, make sure the medications are organized. At $30 an hour, that's $120 a week, about $500 a month. Very manageable. The family says, she's fine, we'll wait. 6 months later, she falls, breaks her hip, emergency surgery, hospitalization stay, and rehab in a skilled nursing facility. That's about $9,000 to $12,000 a month, and Medicare only cover a portion of it, only for a limited time. When she comes home, she can't be alone anymore. Now she needs 8 hours of care per day, plus overnight, maybe some supervision. We're looking about anywhere between $7,200 a month for daytime, $5,400 overnight. That's $12,600 a month. That's a minimum from her home. Or she moves to an assisted living at $6,000 a month. The family could have spent $500 a month on prevention, is now spending $6,000 to $12,000 a month in recovery. That $500 investment they skipped, it was fall prevention. It was medication management. It was a trained pair of eyes watching for exactly the kind of decline that led to this crisis. The cost of doing nothing is always more than the cost of doing something early. All right, let's get specific. I'm going to walk you through the major care settings and what they actually cost in the Charlotte area. These numbers may vary slightly depending on the specific community or provider, but this is the realistic range. It will start with independent living. This is an apartment for senior living. You get a roof, maybe 1 meal a day. some social activities. No personal care assistance is included. In Charlotte, that looks like about $2,500 to $4,500 a month, depending on the community and the size of the apartment. Remember, independent living is for people who need no daily help with personal care. If your loved one needs help bathing, dressing, getting to the bathroom, or managing medications, independent living is the wrong setting. And adding care on top of that rent changes the math dramatically. Assisted living, this is assisted living is the next level of care. Staff available 24 hours a day, help with bathing, dressing, medication, meals. In this area in Charlotte, assisted living can go from $4,500 to $7,500 a month, depending on the level of care needed. Most communities charge a base rate plus additional fees for higher level of assistance. Here's the key number I want you to remember. For many families, assisted living at $6,000 a month is less expensive than staying in an independent living at $3,500 a month, plus adding home care at $3,600 for just 4 hours a day. And in assisted living, there's someone there at 2 a.m. And independent living with daytime only care, there is not any overnight supervision. Next, you have memory care. This is specialized assisted living for people with Alzheimer's and dementia or other cognitive impairments. It is a secure environment, specialized trained staff. In this area in Charlotte, memory care typically runs $5,500 to $9,000 a month. It's more expensive because it requires higher staffing ratios and a secure physical environment. Next, you have a skilled nursing. This is what most people think of as a nursing home. Medical care around the clock. Nurses on staff 24/7. In the Charlotte area, a semi private room in a skilled nursing facility is about $7,500 to $9,500 a month. A private room can exceed $10,000 a month. Next, you have home care. This is what my company provides. And it's the most flexible option, but it's also the one where families most often miscalculate the cost. Home care in Charlotte runs $28 to $35 an hour, depending on the level of caregiver and the complexity of needs. Let me do the math for you. At $30 an hour, 4 hours a day, that's $120 a day or $3,600 a month. 8 hours a day is $240 or $7,200 a month. 12 hours a day, $360 a day or $10,800 a month. For 24 hours a day at $720 a day, that would be $21,600 a month. That last number gets people's attention. $21,600 a month, 24-hour care at home. That's more than twice the cost of a skilled nursing facility. It's not always the answer for home care. Home care it's wonderful. I've built my career on it, but it has to be the right amount of care in the right setting. Otherwise, you are overpaying for the wrong solution. Now, let me show you why these numbers matter so much when you put them side by side. Let's go back to the scenario from last week's webinar. A gentleman with dementia, wheelchair bound, needs help with transfers and toileting. His family wanted to keep him in his independent living apartment. Here was the math. Independent living apartment, $3,400 a month. 4 hours of daytime care at $3,600 a month bring you to $7,000 a month. And he's still unsafe at night. To make him truly safe, you need to add overnight care at least 6 hours overnight. That is another $5,400 for a total of $12,400 a month. Assisted living with 24-hour staff support would be $6,000 a month. Let me say that again. The cheaper option of staying in independent living, once you add the care that's actually needed, costs more than double the setting that actually matches the person's needs. This happens all the time. Families stay in the wrong setting because they assume it's cheaper. They don't do the comparison. They don't know how to do the comparison. And so they spend more money for less safety. Let me give you another scenario. A woman recovering from a stroke. She needs help with physical therapy, exercises, meal preparation, bathing, and medication management. Her family is deciding between hiring home care and placing her in assisted living. She needs 8 hours of daily care at home. At $30 an hour, that's $7,200 a month, plus whatever her housing cost is. If she's paying $1,800 a month for her mortgage or rent, we are looking at $9,000 a month. Assisted living with rehabilitation support, 60 would be $6,500 a month. She gets meals, supervision, she gets assistance, and she gets rehab, all included. Again, the cheaper option is not actually cheaper. Now, I'm not saying home care is never the right choice, because it is absolutely is for the right person at the right level in the right situation. If someone needs just a few hours of help a day and has a safe living environment, home care is phenomenal because it preserves independence, dignity, and comfort. The decision needs to be based on math, not emotion, not I want mom to stay home kind of thing. But what does mom actually need? And what's the most cost effective way to provide that care safely? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to run your own numbers, not in a panic, not at 8 p.m. the night before discharge. Now, this week, while things are calm and you can think clearly, do it. Step one, calculate monthly income and resources. What's coming in? Where is it coming in? Social Security for both spouses, if applicable, pension income, investment distributions, rental income, any other source of income. Write down the total monthly income that is coming in. Step two, identify liquid assets. What's in the saving? What is in the investment accounts that could be accessed? What's the total pool of money that is available if income alone doesn't cover the cost? And then ask, at $6,000 a month and care, how many months does this last? At $10,000 a month, at $15,000, how many months? Step three, check for insurance. Does your loved one have a long-term care insurance policy? A lot of people bought these 15, 20 years ago and have never looked at them. Pull out that policy. What's the daily benefit? What is the elimination period? Meaning, how long do you pay out of pocket before benefits start? What triggers the benefits? This information could change your entire financial picture. Step four, research benefits. Is your loved one a veteran? The aid and attendance pension can provide over $2,000 a month. Is your loved one potentially Medicaid eligible? Medicaid can cover nursing home care. In North Carolina, it does cover some home care services, but there are income and asset limits in a 5-year look back on any financial transfers. Step five, get comparison quotes. Call 2 or 3 assisted living communities. Call a home care agency. Call us. Ask for pricing at different levels of care. Build your comparison sheet. Put the numbers side by side. Once you have these 5 pieces of information, you can make a real decision. An informed decision, a decision that is protected, that protects both your loved one and your loved one's safety and your family's future financially. This is what I call knowing your numbers. It is the single most important thing you can do to prepare for whatever comes next. Now, I'm giving you a lot of numbers today. And you might be thinking, okay, Emma, I see the math, but how do I actually figure out what my family needs? How do I avoid the family that spends $12,000 a month on the wrong solution? That's exactly why we built Gentle Shepherd Care the way we did. Because the math only works when someone helps you connect the numbers to the whole picture, not just what kind of care your loved one needs today, but what actually driving the decline. And that's where most home care companies stop. They stop short there. Let me explain what I mean. Most agencies send you a caregiver, that's it. They match hours to the task. You need help with bathing? Here's someone for 4 hours a day. Dad fell again? Let's add overnight coverage. It's reactive, it's transactional, and it's expensive because you're always chasing the last crisis instead of preventing the next one. At Gentle Shepherd Care, we do something different. We are a nurse led holistic company. That means every care plan starts with a nurse, not a scheduler, not a sales rep. A nurse, someone who can look at your mother and see that her fall, if she's been falling, are not just a balance issue. They are connected to maybe dehydration because she's not drinking. Maybe she's not drinking, and which is also connected to maybe medication side effects, which nobody has addressed before because nobody was looking at the full picture. We call this our 7 pathway to wellness. We assess 7 interconnected areas: hydration, nutrition, sleep, mobility, pain management, chronic disease management, and medication management. These are not separate problems, they are one system. And when you treat them as one system, the outcomes change dramatically. And so does the math. Here's what I mean by that: the math changes. Remember that $500 a month prevention scenario from earlier? When we come in with our holistic approach, we're not just sending someone to check on mom. We are putting a trained pair of clinical eyes on her whole health picture. We are catching dehydration before it causes the dizziness. We are catching the medication interaction before it causes the fall. We are catching the sleep disruption before it accelerates the cognitive decline. That means fewer emergency room visits, fewer hospitalization, slower progression of disease, and ultimately fewer dollars spent. Prevention is not just cheaper than crisis. Holistic prevention is cheaper than piecemeal prevention because you're not solving the root cause, not stacking band aids. Let me put this side by side so you can see the difference. With traditional home care and compare with Gentle Shepherd Care approach, traditional home care is a task based, match hours to immediate needs. Holistic, if with us, nurse led assessment, looking at root causes across 7 pathways. Who designed the plan? And take coordinators with the traditional home care or the scheduler. With us, it's a nurse with 35 years of experience or nurse with many years of clinical experience, focusing on fall prevention. Supervision during care hours. Identify why falls happen, looking at dehydration, medication, mobility, and addresses root cause medication oversight. Now, one does medication reminders, reminding people to, like the traditional home care would remind someone to take their medication. For us, not only we do a full review of medication lists and interaction, side effects, timing optimization, which is we go beyond medication reminders. With us, we also have technology in home care. Technology basic check-in system like Sensi, which is an audio monitoring for continuous safety between visits or overnight when nobody's there. With us, we provide the financial guidance, whereas with traditional home care is the hourly rate. Just quote your hourly rate. But we also do financial guidance with our clarity assessment. With our clarity assessment, we'll give you a full cost comparison across all care settings with financial resources to review. The result, you could have reactive with traditional home care, which is adding hours as needs increase, or you can do with us proactive, slow decline, reduce crisis, optimize spend, and this is what it means to be in this area, the only continuous care provider is a home care provider. We're not just filling the shifts, we are managing trajectory. And that trajectory, when it's managed well, saves families of tons of dollars, tons of dollars over the course of a care journey. So, how do you actually get started? How do you go from the 5 steps I just gave you to a real plan that you can feel confident about? That's what our clarity assessment is for. And I want to walk you through exactly what it includes. Because it's not a sales call, it's the most comprehensive care planning session you'll find anywhere in this market. Here's what happened during a clarity assessment. First, you have a registered nurse, not a salesperson. You sit down with a registered nurse, with you and the family. We spend real time together understanding your loved one's medical history, current conditions, daily challenges, and what's changed, uh, the changes that they've been experiencing recently. We assess across all 7 pathways: hydration, nutrition, sleep, mobility, pain, chronic disease, and medication. We're looking for the connections that everyone else misses. Second, we do the math with you. We build a real cost comparison, just like the ones I just walked you through today, but specifically to your family's needs and situation. What does home care look like at different levels? How does that compare to assisted living or memory care? What resources do you have? Insurance, VA benefits, savings, and how far do they stretch under each scenario? Third, we give you honest recommendation. And sometimes that recommendation is not gentle shepherd care. If your loved one would be better served in an assisted living, I will tell you that. And if they need skilled nursing, I will also tell you that. Our job in the clarity assessment is to help you find the right answer, not to sell you ours. Fourth, and this is what families tell me is the most valuable part. We help you see the road ahead, not just where your loved one is today, but what the likely progression looks like. What will care needs look like in 6 months, in a year, in 3 years? Because when you can see ahead, you can plan ahead. And when you can plan ahead, you stop reacting. You stop hemorrhaging money on crisis decisions. The clarity assessment is how you go from I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do, to I have a plan, I know my numbers, and I know what comes next. That's what we do. That's the gentle shepherd care difference. We don't just provide care, we provide clarity. And in this world of elder care, clarity is the most valuable thing anyone can give you. Now, I know this is a lot of numbers, and I know that looking at numbers like $10,000, $12,000 a month can feel overwhelming, even terrifying. But here's what I need you to understand: the numbers are not the enemy. The enemy is not knowing the numbers, because when you don't know, you can't plan. And when you cannot plan, you react. And reactive decisions, as we talked about last week, are the most expensive decisions of all. We created a cost comparison for you, a worksheet that walks you through every calculation we discussed today. If you want it, reach out to us and ask us for it, and we'll be more than happy to provide that to you. And then sit down on a weekend with a cup of coffee, sit down with your siblings, sit down with your loved one, either if they are on the phone, start filling those forms out. You don't have to finish it in one sitting. Just start. Just start. Next week, we are going to talk about the care letter, or the level of care, the different level of care, and how to honestly assess which level your loved one is on today, because the math only works if you are matching it to the right level of care. If you want help running your numbers, if you want someone to sit with you, look at the real costs, and help you build a plan that makes financial sense, that's exactly what our clarity assessment was designed for. So schedule yours and let's look at your specific situation together. Schedule your clarity assessment at 704 209 5040, or send us an email at emmasoy@gentleshepherdcare.com. Check our website, gentleshepherdcare.com. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being willing to look at those hard numbers. That takes courage, and it's going to make all the difference for your family. I'll see you next week.